Gwen here. Oh my goodness, it has been 2 weeks since I have been back from Go Wild, and I just had the best time ever. Sorry for the delay, but I have just been trying to organize this video and really share as concisely as possible the perspective of advice I would give myself as a newbie. And I'm telling you, if I can do it and go by myself, you can do it and you can go by yourself. Well, I mean, I went to the planner fair by myself, but my husband went with me along the trip because first and foremost, we don't like spending much time apart. And then I have a bad wrist, and those bags are like 50 pounds each, and I took 3 of them. So I needed help. So this video is going to be, have a couple of sections. So section number 1 is what I knew going into Go Wild. So information that was given to me, tips and tricks, hacks, things like that from previous Go Wilder goers or alumni. And then the second part is what I wish I knew. So getting all of the advice, getting all the information, and there's still certain things that kind of fell through the cracks and plum paper conference planner that was in my badge box. And I carry that with me everywhere because this guy gets a little heavy. These are some charms I kind of collected along the Go Wild weekend. So they're so cute, and I'm like, oh my gosh, they're still on there. Anywho's, and then the last part is what my feedback would be that I think will enhance the experience of people who go next year. So we're going to go ahead and get into it right now. So had I mentioned, we have been back for 13 days, maybe 13, maybe 14. And as a fellow Swiftie, that's all right with me. It's like, okay, so what I knew before Go Wild. So I knew this information through Facebook. So number one, if you want to connect, if you want to make the most out of your experience, if you just want to come back on a high like me and many other women are, like we're still chatting. So what I knew before Go Wild was the swag, right? So we all see, even if we've never gone to Go Wild, you're like, oh my goodness, all this stuff and all of this and the tables, they look so beautiful. And yeah, they totally are. But don't be deceived. All of the swag that people say, look at all this stuff I got from Go Wild, whoa, and you just are like, whoa, that is all spread out through a course from the day you arrive to the day that you leave. Literally on my way to check out, I got my last swag bag, and I was like, where am I gonna, part of me was like, where am I gonna put this? What I knew before Go Wild was also about table mate gifts. So that was kind of fun, and I wish I would have done something totally different. And now that I've gone there, I know exactly what I'm going to do next year. I know exactly, and I'm so excited. And so table mate gifts are not required. So again, big disclaimer, they are not required. What is a table mate gift? So the first morning of the conference is the day where the sponsors are making the tables beautiful and like the giveaways, right? Like the swag. That's like the first morning. That's the day that everybody lines up super early, and people stress about, oh man, I want to be first, I want to be here, whatever. So that's that day 1. And then day 2, it's a little bit more chill, a little bit more relaxed. Yeah, people show up, it's just maybe not as early. So it's more about just like chilling with and meeting new people. And so on that day, people like to make little goodie bags, little gift baskets. One of the most incredibly generous person I've ever met, especially throughout this conference, was Miss Melissa. and we swapped. I had an extra at my table, and I asked, I said, hey, if we have an extra, what do we do with that? And Kristen said, you can do whatever you want, it's yours. And I says, oh great, because I want to swap with someone who's not at my table that I really connected with. And then so they had an empty, so we swapped together. So and hers was like incredible, right? So you can really make it as much as you want, or as little as you want, or just nothing at all. So my table mate gifts, which I'm sure was nothing in compared to like some of these where I was like, oh my goodness, I wish I would have done more creative, and I just didn't know. But now I'm here to help you know if you want to do stuff. So for my ledger on table mate gifts, I spent about a total of $255, and that included, everybody got like a long zippy bag with a clear face. Everybody got $20 in $2 bills with like a little llama clip, some candy, some stickers, some llama stickers, some chocolates. And then I did like 2 bundles of stickers in there. So, and then that was my tradie bag, right? So it's like you put one at each table, and that's that. Which to me was cooler, was so much better than the sponsor tables. Not to say the sponsor tables weren't fantastic, phenomenal, because they absolutely were. But there's something so cool about getting something from someone like Kristen, who sat at our table. She made like these little frames and by hand, and she like painted it, and I'm like, oh my gosh, this is so incredible. And like and she got like a dessert in there, and I'm like, that dessert saved me because I was starving. Okay, so it really is just like incredible. People are just so generous. So I knew about that. I knew about Plan Jamma, and I'm not really a pajama person. I'm that kind of person that just sleeps in like a shirt from like 1996 that has like 25 holes in it, but it's so soft and just like, ugh, with the cut off sleeves. Like, that's my pajamas. So I had to go buy a couple of sets of pajamas just in case. I have a video of like my bag that's just Plan Jamma stuff. I knew about staying hydrated, so I had this little guy. I love it. This is a scarf that was one of the freebies from GoWild. Another tip that they said, and what I knew before GoWild, was pack your badge first. So what I did is I got a laundry basket that it's really big. I use that when I'm specifically washing my linens. And so I got that basket, and anything and everything that I knew I was going to put in my GoWild luggage on this GoWild trip, I just put in that basket. What I knew, eat when you can, because I just did not have time to eat. And when I did eat, it was like, okay, honey, thank you. Oh, they had these energy breaks, or these, because sometimes speakers, you need a little break. You need to use the restroom, stretch your legs, that whole thing. I just did not feel like waiting in a line. I felt like there were so many places to line up. And so thank God my husband was, I tried to kind of work out those breaks so that he can get lunch or have food and then order me like a little extra thing. And yes, I have here, she is pricey. GoWild is not cheap. So really quickly, because again, this is like me telling past me people what that kind of looks like. So flight for myself, okay, the total was, in case you want to just zoom past, the total was $3,809 from April 18th through April 21st. And the things that I took with me. But I'm telling you, it was worth it. It was worth this and so much more. Okay, I would do it in a heartbeat all over again. Flights for me, 347. And then same for my husband. So we specifically flew Southwest. It had one layover. It wasn't big of a deal. Where was that? We went to Vegas. It was like Vegas, and then an hour. By the time we landed, we were already like lining up, so it worked out. I still am a little confused on lining up for Southwest because I'm used to just like having a seat. So I do like the early check-in and that whole thing. And so we get in there pretty quickly. I'm never like more than like the 20th or 30th person in group A, the first group that boards. So it works. So I pay a little bit more to get that privilege because it's worth it to me. And so, yes, so each one of our flights was $347 round trip. That's not bad. That's not bad at all, I believe, right? Yeah, that has to be. Well, that sounds really cheap, but yeah. Ubers was a total of about $150 including tips. The hotel each night was $219. I did not factor in taxes and all that other extra stuff that they charge you afterwards, but I did account for the food, the room service. So your ticket admission with taxes this year was $720. Worth it, okay? One word, Martha Stewart. I would do it again in a heartbeat. I paid. Yes, that like inspired me. Her and multiple other speakers were just so inspirational. Table mate gifts, as I mentioned, was $255. What I call my champion gifts, so like the leaders that I led some kind of group that I was involved in. So one of them was the book llamas. Ashley, the sweetest person you'll ever meet in the entire planet. And then who I call the Mama Llama. So she's the newbie ambassador, and another Mama Llama, Chris and Carl. So yeah, so I basically, that wasn't too bad, $94 for them. Okay, so the group that I was in was the book llamas, so the book swap. I also made 100 bookmarks to swap. That's a lot of bookmarks, but I just wanted to have extra. I think when the numbers were like at 60 or 80, I was like, I'm just going to go a full 100 just because I already have all my stuff out, my puncher, my thing to put the little tassel on. And I'm just going to I'm just going to do 100 and just call it a day so I can put all this stuff away and just, never see it again. And that's what I did. Okay. So what I call my swaps or buttons, I made a bunch of buttons. So I made about 800 buttons that said newbie so we can identify ourselves. So if I see somebody with like a newbie button, it's like, oh, it's your time, my first time, my first time. The concept is from like Disneyland. Like I love going to Disneyland on my birthday. That's like, I love doing that. And I see other people that says, I'm celebrating my birthday. And I'm like, hey, it's my birthday too. What day is yours? Oh, it's this one. Oh, mine is on that one. And I love that. It gives me like a window to connect. So that was 142. Food was big. Food was big. What the heck did we eat? Food was, including tips, was $650. Sounds about right. On plan Jammin' Night because the booze is free. And I had a few beers, okay? So 160, and I'm a very generous tipper when I've had a couple of Tahine Blue Moons. Okay. Interesting. Okay, plain internet, $32. So there and back. Okay. Tipping my maid, $60. So that sounds like $20 a night. I went to a tea party. Again, made that connection where? Correct. 130, but that also includes, like, I bought like a fascinator. I bought like the lacy gloves. So that includes like the getup. Oh yeah, and then I put here coat check tip. Man, I included everything. Good for me. I'm proud of myself. So it was raining cats and dogs when we went to the tea party. It was a little scary, but the gal that drove was just like, oh, she was like on it, and I felt so safe that I fell asleep. I fell asleep on the way back. I was just like, oh, the rain was comforting and the ride. And, once you start going a certain mile per hour and I'm in the back seat, it just relaxes me and I fall asleep. And I'm glad I did, because that night was Plan Jamma and I was like, oh, I have my second wind. Oh, okay, this is saying the flight was something else, but that was if I would have flown. Yeah, if I would have flown with American, each ticket would have been $502. So that makes sense why I went with the Southwest. And it includes 2 checked bags for free, plus a carry-on, plus a personal. That is a deal. That is a deal. And the worst thing I had to do was have a layover. Pfft, whatever, I'll take it. No problemo. Okay. So that was price. That whole thing was costs. Again, you do not have to buy plain internet. You don't have to tip your maid $20. You don't have to do this extra tea party stuff. Like, you don't have to do those extra things. If you were like my cousin watching this and I was like, listen, I want you to have a good time, or you're like my sister, I would say, my bro, do a table mate gifts. I know they say don't do it. It's like that feeling of like, you don't want to show up to a person's house empty-handed. Stop and buy a little, $15 bottle of wine at the gas station, and or go to Vons or Safeway and get a little pastry, or you just don't want to show up empty-handed. And I'm just saying, just do something teeny tiny. One gal said that she took a bunch of the stuff from like her D stash that she didn't like, this washi that she got, or this and this, like all the things that, and she made like these little bundles. But I just don't want you to feel like, oh man, I'm getting all this stuff and I didn't give anything. If you absolutely cannot, don't stress. But this is your girl. Try to be your girl and, tell you like for real is how it is. And I'm never going to like invite you to a party where it's like dressy and everyone's dressy and I don't tell you and I let you get in my car with a pair of jeans. I'm going to say, nope, we're all dressy. We're all this. And, I'm going to give you that information and then you can do that with what you will. Okay. What I wish I knew. I really wish I did not underestimate the amount of walking that happens within the hotel. Just within the hotel. GoWild is getting bigger and badder and incredible each year. I mean, and I can see it from like past pictures to like where it's at now. And I get it. Those planner conferences are sometimes loud, sometimes they're receptions to weddings, I mean, what have you. So they kind of want to be a little bit away from like the rooms and things like that, right? Like the main elevators to like go up to your room. So it makes sense. But I did not pack accordingly when it came to footwear. For crying out loud, the most appropriate shoes I could have worn to the Plan Jamma night. Yeah, I did go with my outfit, all right, but I couldn't really dance all night because my feet were hurting. I had like these little black kitten heels that were like, that much of a heel. But that's the closest thing I had to like. Anyways, so you're going to have a lot of walking. Which I would have packed snacks. I would have literally gone to the grocery store here in my hometown, packed all my snacks, and not did the whole like, hey, I'm just going to go to the store when I get there. I'm just going to call Walmart and have them drop it off or any of that. It's too busy. It was too wild. It was too crazy. I want to be a planner. I want to be here. I don't want to be waiting for, Pablo at the front lobby to drop off my groceries. And I say that because I had a gal who had a Spanish speaker Walmart grocery dropper off person, delivery driver. And she was like, do you speak Spanish? And I was like, claro que sí. And so I helped with that. Hey, where is she? This and this. And so I was able to, and I'm like, I don't want to be on the phone messing with that. So I'm, so pack my snacks from home, take them with me. I really wish I knew that there was really not going to be a lot of sleep. I was not a volunteer. I wanted my first experience to be fully enriched by just being a newbie, wide-eyed, bushy-tailed type of experience, which it was. but I barely felt like I got any sleep. One, I think, was the time change. Two, I was just too excited 2 days before even jumping on the plane to come to GoWild, or to go to GoWild. So I just did not sleep. And so there was one day where I was like, I think it was after the Swifties, because Taylor Swift album, Georgia Poets Department, came out that same weekend. And after the book llamas met, then it was the Swifties, and I could not keep my eyes open. And I did a couple bracelets, hung out, try to just meet as many people as possible. And then I was like, I'm out. I need to just go take a power nap. And so I went to the room, turned that AC down as low as I could, and just bundled myself up under those blankets, and I was out. And I set like a 2-hour alarm, and those 2 hours just really revitalized me. And then went back to sessions and all that stuff, because they have like little breaks in between. So that was incredible. So sleep when you can, for reals, sleep when you can. And even if you feel like, oh, I may be a little late to this, prioritize your wellness before anything else. So I'm glad I stepped away to take care of that. I really wish I would have known that I should, and I heard a couple people say this, but I will be doing this differently moving forward. I will be arriving one day before to just settle, to just unpack, to just like, woosah, because it was wild and crazy. I went off of the itinerary I saw from last year, and this year things started much earlier, and my plane didn't land till 1. By the time luggage, by the time you get in the Uber, by the time you're at the hotel, it's more about 2:00. And it was just a wild experience. So I will never do that again. And normally I don't like run that close to that time, because I really like to just take my time and not rush things, because for me, I feel like accidents always happen when I'm in that rush vibration, instead of just like, okay, it takes me out of my element. It takes me out of my character and how I want to feel. And I want to prioritize that. Again, that's like a growth thing, right? So a lot of that anxiety, a lot of that fear, a lot of like that comes from just not proper planning, in my opinion. And it definitely happened like as I landed. But even with that happening, I have to say, I am so proud of myself, because I could have allowed all that to stress me out. I could have allowed it to kind of maybe give me like a disappointed attitude, a like, oh my goodness, and oh, I'm not gonna have time, and I just kind of went and I rolled with it, and it just all worked out for the better. It really did, by just not freaking out. And then once the conference is over, which is like a Saturday night, and then Sunday is kind of like the travel day typically, where you like check out and you catch your planes and you arrive back home. So in our case, we probably got home like 11:30 at night. Just left everything. I mean, I didn't unpack until, well, I unpacked for the sake of like looking at all my freebies and things like that, because I was like a kid, like Christmas morning, wanting to open up all my presents, because you just don't have time to go through all that stuff while you're there, or at least I didn't. So it was really cool getting back and like opening all that stuff. But definitely taking the Monday off after Sunday would have been like genial, would have been just like genius. Like, yes, do not run. I was so excited, and my Gucci platforms are like this fat at the toe box, and then about this fat at the heel. And I was so excited, and I ran, and I was walking a little bit too fast down the stairs, and just don't do it. Accidents happen when you run and when you rush. Just take your time. And it also looks really crazy when people just run in general. Like at rope drop at Disney and you see people running, like, don't run. And then, like, when they open the doors and people want to rush to the sponsor tables, I go, well, don't run. Just don't do it. Just don't run. Okay. What I loved, gosh, there's just so much what I loved. First and foremost, obviously, the speaker lineup was incredible. I am so inspired. I have really taken to heart what all of the speakers have shared with us. Every self-starter, like the panel, the founder panel, I mean, everybody who just shared their story, how they've gotten to where they're at, it was just so inspirational. And then obviously, hello, Martha Stewart, right? So she's taken it to like a whole new level. So there was just something, as an entrepreneur myself, seeing a living legend like her and just getting to hear her insight and her, the Q&A time that we had was incredible. I don't know if other conferences would have such like a power hitter like that, but I'm so glad that I attended Go Wild. And then as an added bonus, Martha Stewart was the main keynote speaker. So that was incredible. And so many other people that are just so inspirational. And another speaker that just blew me out of the water, and I was just like this the whole time, VJ from Nautique. So she's founder of Nautique, which is like a luxury planner brand. She's just fantastic. And she is just, like when she came into the room, the entire atmosphere of that space just kind of was like chitter chatter, da, 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 da. And, and I don't want to say the other speakers commanded that same level of attention, but I will say that when VJ came out and was speaking, and she was very quiet and very intentional. Every word was intentional, and even like her cadence and how she, the fluidity in her sentences and her, oh man, it was just like, queen. The other thing I loved, which was new, so as I mentioned, Mama Llama or newbie ambassador, Kristen Carl, she came up with the idea of having a newbie group so that it's a little bit more on like, hey, less scary, less, for people that are new to it, that they feel more welcome. And it's probably a need that she maybe felt like she had. And so what's beautiful about this conference is there's a lot of leaders. There's a lot of leaders in this group. And I have so much respect for all of these women, but especially those that kind of raise their hand and say, there's this thing I want to do and I'm going to go on ahead and lead it. So a lot of like the groups were member led. And so she is the ambassador and she's phenomenal at what she did. And had it not been for her, I don't think my experience going to Go Wild would be as enriched as it has been. So I really owe a lot of that to her. And my hope and prayer is that next year that that the people in charge, the group, that like the company of Go Wild gives her the blessing in doing that again. So I think that'd be really fantastic. Another thing I love was just seeing the amount of volunteers that it takes to make this happen. If you volunteer, I want to say you get a little bit of a break on the price. So every volunteer I saw that had the volunteer shirt or like the special lanyard, I believe there were green lanyards, that identified them as the volunteer. Every single one. Thank you so much. Oh my gosh. Thank you for volunteer. Thank you for volunteer. when somebody sat next to me, I'm like, what's your, I mean, there was one, Jasmine, who sat next to me. I was like, oh, Jasmine, you're my princess. And I started singing to her. And I was like, I can show you, you know, serenading her. Like, what can I do to help you? Can I go get stuff for you, you know? So thank your volunteers, because without them, it would not be what it is. I love this guy. Next year, I should probably buy them now. I should buy this now so that next year I am organized with my contact cards. So this is a mini album with Simply Gilded. One thing is, I'm not sure if this is like the mini or like the regular one. But what I like about it is that each side has its own pocket. I thought it was kind of like that old school 80s, 90s photo wallet where it's just one and you have to put like one facing that way and one facing up. But each one has their own side. So, hey, that's all right. I like it. Even better. And it has this little hooky guy that you can hook to your badge if you want. I'll probably get some kind of like retractable situation where I don't lose it and I can just like pull it out and here you go, and organize the ones they give me. And I'm excited to do, I'm definitely going to do one of these next year. So one of, just because they're so beautiful. So I'll show you this one here as an example. So she did a back and forthy. This is JoJo's Pretty Paper Shop. Oh, so she was the owner, yeah. So see how she has her photo? And these are all stickers. So just to kind of show you, like, all these little, they're all stickers. I don't want to use them because they look so pretty, but I don't know. I might, but I feel like I'm taking away. But they want you, right? They want you to use these stickers, you know? So I don't know. I don't know. I might too. So these are the contact cards. So next year, I'm taking one of these to organize the ones I get, and then the ones I give, I'll probably have a separate pouch for that. Oh yes, what I loved that no matter which table you sat at, whether it's a sponsored day morning or it is the table mate morning, they're all going to be fantastic. It doesn't matter where you sit, they're all going to be fantastic. My main thing was being able to see and being able to hear. So I sat as close to Martha Stewart as I legally could. And on the other day, same thing. And I was like looking around towards the front. And then Kristen's like, hey, we have a chair. Come sit over here. And I was like, I'm with the Mama Llama. Yeah. So that was fun because I was able to see and I was able to hear. Okay. And then they had, another thing I liked is they had a live illustrator. They also had somebody with ASL. So that was really great. But they had an illustrator that took notes while the speakers were giving their talks, and he kind of pulled like the main chunks of what they were saying and just did like this doodle board. And I was like, oh my gosh, like that is incredible. So I was just like mesmerized by this person too. I was like, oh my goodness, that was so cool. Like I said, my feedback for next year would be what I would refer to as a planner fair passport. Gwen, what is a planner fair passport? What the heck do you mean? So there was probably 12, maybe 12 like vendors and their booths and all of that good stuff. I don't want to stick them on there because I'm using these stickers for my memory planning. But can you imagine in your badge box getting a little passport that looks like, you know, it has, I'm just putting this sticker here so it's not just so plain, but imagine getting like a little passport in your badge box. And obviously, like in the passport, the first page is like your information, right? So they leave a little cutout. Or they put a little frame, you know, or you can do it yourself. And they have the photo booths anyways, but have somebody like, hey, one of your pictures from this photo booth, we're going to, do a little square chunk action. The photo pops out. You stick it here and you write your information. This is your little passport, right? That's station number 1. And I know this is like a manpower thing. I get it. Or maybe just don't, like, we can do all of this on our own, right? We can do all of this on our own. Don't let that trip you up. But then when you open it, you know, like in the passport, they have like the little stamp areas, and give each vendor a stamp that says, or make them responsible in getting their own stamp. Hey, get a stamp, have it be, these are the, you know, don't make it too big, don't make it too small, make it to fit within a whatever, 2x3 square. And then every single person, as they go to these vendor booths, they just have a person going, maybe get a couple people that are just stamping away. Hey, you got this? Oh, great. Thanks for stopping by. Oh, can I get my stamp? Yeah. And it allows all of these vendors to get interaction with, right? Even if it's just for a stamp, even if it's just, and that's it. At least, they all came, because there was some that were definitely like, oh, I want to go to that one because that one has a swing. Oh, I want to go to that one because that one has the balls, like the fun, like the, when you go to McDonald's when you're little, like the fun balls, or Chuck E. Cheese. That was so much fun. But when I fell, like I said, I hit my bootay on the stairs. God bless the women that helped me. Angels in disguise, angels among us, okay? Knocked the wind out of me, made me feel nauseous. That's how painful that was. Don't run. I was going somewhere with this. Where was I going with this? Yes, now I know. Those balls hurt me because when I was in those play balls and I'm sitting down there and like those balls put like pressure on you. So think of like when you have a knot in your back and they tell you to get a tennis ball and just roll your back on a tennis ball. Well, that rolling action was happening on my bruise. So that was like painful. That's where I was getting to. Okay. So some of them, what I'm trying to say is some of them had more wow factor. Okay. Some of them were a little bit more chill, a little bit. Everybody goes and gets a stamp, but this is my Michael Scott golden ticket idea. Okay. So once you finish and you get your stamps, and I'm going to say it has to have this much paper, right? This is just an example. At the very end of the book, at the very, very, very end, you leave a space. And in that space, you leave it empty. And then there's a person at the very end of this line. And I know it's another line. I get it. Or I don't know how this can happen. Maybe there's a better idea, but basically better concept, but the same thing at the end. You earn by visiting all these locations, by interacting, you get the sticker, which is just like a label of the company's name. So it'll say like the company name. It'll have the coupon code, and it'll have when that expires. Because I want to support these companies that are out here, supporting us. And there were times throughout the conferences and like little tiny breaks here and there where, you maybe have like 20 minutes in between this or 10 minutes in between that. Girl, I would have had my passport out and been like, girl, I'll put my headphones in. I'm going shopping because this is going to expire in 2 days. And if I don't go shopping now, I don't want to pay full price. Okay. So how cool would that be? So that is Michael Scott golden ticket idea. That's my golden ticket idea. Okay. And they can make it all pretty. And, this is just kind of an example. See, like they did Wild in Dallas. Like, if they had something like this, that would be so cute. Little passport. to check out all the people. And they all make their cute little stamp. Oh my gosh, that'd be so adorable. Are you kidding me? Another tip would be signage. Big signage. And I know we're sharing a lot of these spaces with other people that are using the space as well. But how cool would it be where you're like, oh my gosh, where is the crystal ballroom? Where is this one? Is it up here? Is it up there? And I know sometimes like having a person there is just easier, like, hey, I'm a volunteer. Hey, this way. Hey, that way. And maybe that was like the best solution for that. Now that I think about it, maybe that was like the thing to do. But for a big conference center, I don't know. That's just my suggestion. Okay. And then on the last evening, I think it would be so cool. There's a time between the last conference of like Saturday, right? So like Saturday night, yay, thank you so much, fantastic, and we're out. See you at Plan Jamma. So between that time and the time of Plan Jamma, so in that space in between, I think it'd be really cool to have like the little guys at the planner fair. So it'd just been kind of nice if at the very end it's just kind of more like that farmer's market feel. I think that'd be really cool. And so I came back Monday, and Monday night I was so exhausted. I was like sweating and tired and sleepy. But I went and I told myself I am going to unpack. I still have bags that are just open, like in the guest room, and it's just like my clothes, but all the stickers and notebooks and pens and those kind of things, I took all that stuff out. So bundles that were like 3 pages or more, I opened up. Like there was some that just had 1 or 2, so I was like, okay, I'm gonna leave that. But anything that was 3 pages or more in like a sleeve, I opened up and I just placed everything. So just to kind of give you an insight of this year, I don't know about other years in the past or in the future, but at the very least this year, what all the freebies were. So it's a mixture of the swaps, like the bigger swaps kind of thing, if that makes sense. Because there's like these, like technically this is, I think, like a contact card swap. But sometimes there were people that did like a zippy bag with pens and like other things. So like those kind of things are put in this video, along with like I ran into some vendors as I'm like walking to the restroom or walking back, and they're just like, oh hey, I'd like to give you one of these, and I'm like, oh my goodness, thank you so much. So just anywhere and everywhere you never know where you're gonna get little goodies. And so that was me, and I was like, oh my god, thank you. But I am just working through my vendors, all of them that were sponsors, so that I can support every single one of them. So I've already done 4 of them, so I have a lot more to go. So that's really exciting, because you meet the people behind the brand. These are incredible women, and me as a fellow business lady myself, it was so encouraging. Another thing on the what I wish I knew, that I did not write down, but on the 17th, the day before, they have what's called a GoWild Shop Summit. So when I first heard of the GoWild Shop Summit, and mind you, I when I bought my ticket, I booked the hotel, and I don't say I regret. I just should say I should have asked more questions as to what the Shop Summit was, because I was under the impression that the Shop Summit, first I thought it was a day to just go crazy and just go shop, and I thought, that sounds fantastic, let's do it. Getting to know the brands, things like that. And then when somebody said, oh no, it's like a thing for like the business side of the planners, and the way they explained it, like my brain translated that as like, it is a day where the planners, the people who have a planning stationary business, gather to just hoorah, and they're within that planner world. So like the small shop business owners, the medium shop business owners, and the speakers are the ones that are, you know, growing, the ones that are able to, this was my story, this is how it's like the motivational people, right? So that's what I thought it was. Now at GoWild is when I discovered that it's just any entrepreneur or anybody. You don't have to be an entrepreneur. Just if you are thinking about starting a business, you have a business of any kind, of any sort. So think of like TED Talk meets like, you know, Oprah. And I say Oprah because of VJ. Like, she is my Oprah. Like, I'm like, oh my gosh, I am listening. I am taking to heart everything this woman's saying. She's just phenomenal. And she was one of the speakers, and I missed it. I could have had another opportunity to be in the same room with this incredible person, and I missed it. And I'm just like, another really cool thing is, speaking about incredible people, is I got to meet the most sweet from Julie Garza, Julie Plant. So I have been following Julie forever, around just a little after Jen Ross. Started with her, and then that's how I the algorithm recommended Julie Garza from Julie Plants, and I got to meet her, and she is just so funny, so sweet. She is like, she has a very special place in my heart, because at the time when I was like just looking forward to her next video, she has a really like calming way of planning, and it's just very like relaxing, and how she's writing things and how she's stickering things and how she just talks about her day and things like that. So I'm like, I'm, how do I say this? Like, I really find her to be super inspirational, and she's like so motivating and so sweet. Another really cool takeaway that I got from GoWild was, I'm not like a bullet journal person, but I've also never really explored if I'm a bujo person, bullet journal person. And they had a session where you kind of did a little bit of that, and I was like, your girl is tired. Your girl can't make us every single square. So people who do bullet journaling, and it's just like this dotted page or a grid page, and that's what they do. Wow. You are incredible. You are amazing. Okay. Another really fun thing that I am just obsessed with, and I cannot wait to do this with my local planner group, where you have like a coloring page, so like, or an outline of something, and instead of you using paint, instead of you using crayons or anything like that, you use washi tape. Oh my gosh, it is so relaxing. It is so fun. What I imagine like diamond painting might be, because that looks really relaxing and super fun. So anyways, it was just incredible. I really, really, really like that. I would have never done that had it not been for this conference. Also, what was cool is, like I said, I'm an Erin Condren girly. They had a session where they gave you like a sampler pack, and I believe that sampler pack starts like in June, May, June. It's like was not in April, I believe. I have to find it. It's somewhere. It's probably in my, I have some stuff here in my office, and then some in my home office. But it's cool because it gives you the different layouts, so that you can try to see which one would work for you. But I was like a horizontal person forever, and then I'm doing vertical now. I don't think there's a vertical option for Hello Kitty version, or an hour. There's something, I don't know. And there's too many things happening in my work life and personal life to just have like the hourly, because I need more than just one thing at like 4:30. I may need sometimes even 3 things are happening at 4:30. and I have to be at like 3 different, stations or whatnot, places, within that half hour. So I have really come to like the vertical, but I'm still figuring out which layout is best. And I think we've gone over what I knew before Go Wild, what I wish I would have known or applied, and I thought, oh, I don't need to do that. What I loved of Go Wild and what my feedback would be. Without further ado, I'm going to say good night and thank you. And sorry for this video taking so long to come out, because again, a lot of it was like, let me gather my thoughts on what I'm going to share and how I'm going to share it. Because I want this to be a blessing to people. I want this to be like, your sis saying, hey girl, this is what we're going to do. This is like what I learned along the way. And maybe there's something other people have, as far as a tip. Hey, share that, because if we can go ahead and help even just one person feel like, gosh, I've always wanted to go, but I don't know anybody, and who am I going to go with, and this and that, or even probably the finance part, right? Oh, it's so expensive. Start saving now. This experience, these ladies, this is a fraction of the experience, and it's worth it. And without further ado, enjoy the video of not all of them, but some of the sponsored tables, because they look so freaking cute. And I thought, oh, this is a good idea how they set this up, and all the little, on how they set it up. It was so darling. So I was like, let me take video. So thank you so much and enjoy. Good night. Bye.